The Sea Serpent remake from LEGO Ideas has finally been revealed, along with the updated Black Knight faction. In this video, we're going to go over all the details about the set, look at the new prints, and discuss if it's worth buying. But before we do any of that, we've got to talk about the original set that inspired this one. Trust me, it's worth talking about because it informs a lot of my opinions on the new one. The original Sea Serpent released all the way back in 1992 and is my favorite classic era set from LEGO Castle. It's actually the only classic era set that I personally own as well. The set came with 3 Black Knights, a new faction for the year, 2 Black Falcons, and a ton of accessories. You got a very generous 7 shields in this tiny $16.50 set. This set was such a great introduction into the castle theme because of how many accessories and figures you got in a really cheap set. As I mentioned, you got what is essentially a battle pack and a terrific looking boat build with a printed dragon sail. It was affordable without cutting corners and has stood the test of time as one of the most beloved sets from the classic castle era. Over the years, people have desperately wanted to see the Black Knights and the Sea Serpent return. Year over year, it was looking more and more likely to happen, with every other classic castle faction getting some kind of reference or outright remake for modern fans. The Fright Knights got a CMF, the Wolfpack were included in the Medieval Town Square set, and later also got their own CMF, and the Lion Knights, of course, got the legendary 90th anniversary castle. It seemed like everything was lining up for a return of the Black Knights. And sure enough, we got news that LEGO would be remaking the Sea Serpent as a part of a LEGO Ideas vote that happened all the way back in May of 2025. As you can imagine, this was huge news for Castle fans, and we all celebrated the fact that the ugly and dated Black Knight minifigures would be finally getting a refresh with modern printing. The Black Knights always had the best builds, but were a bit plain when it came to the figs. At the time, we also speculated that this set might coincide with a remake of the Black Knight's castle. This was one of the most well-regarded castles from the classic era, and a set that most castle fans expected LEGO to remake in a similar style to the 90th anniversary castle. It all seemed so obvious after getting that set in 2023 and the Medieval Town Square in 2024. However, in 2025, nothing happened. We got a more affordable castle with new factions, but silence for the Black Knights and Sea Serpent. Setting our eyes onto 2026, it was looking grim, as there weren't any rumors or leaks suggesting a Black Knights Castle remake, leaving us hopeful but slightly disappointed that we'd only be getting the Sea Serpent this year. And okay, now we're pretty much caught up to modern day. Let's talk about the new set. Here we've got 2 brand new Black Knights. Only problem is, this set isn't out yet, and I can make this figure with parts that I already own. LEGO decided to reuse the Griffin Knight torso and replace the arms with some dark blue ones for some reason. I'm sorry, this is just not a Black Knight. In the transition from old to new, the Black Knights have lost the very essence of what made them unique. Before the Black Knights, most LEGO Castle factions were bright, friendly, and colorful. The only real opposition to this aesthetic were the Black Falcons, who stood apart with their black and blue, slightly edgier theming. I'd argue that the Black Knights merged those 2 different vibes into a dark but still very flamboyant faction. While many of the most popular and sought-after figs wore mostly black, they would also wear brightly colored dragon plumes that stuck out of their helmets. The base black color that they used in their armor let the reds and blues and yellows pop in a way that just hadn't been done before. The Black Knights' shields show this even more, with all 3 of the primary colors shining against their black armor. The modern remake instead opts for a figure that mostly uses flat silver as its base, and feels muddied by the gold accents seen on both the torso and hands. These figs simply do not read as Black Knights to anyone aware of the original faction. It's fine if you like how they look, I think it's a decent look for a knight, but they just aren't the faction that I know and love. LEGO's printed an updated version of the Black Knight sigil onto the Hyrule shield first introduced to Castle fans with the Snake and Griffin Knights. I actually quite like the upscale dragon design that's on the shield, but these colors and the scale just don't look right to me. It looks like we've got more negative space on the shields when compared to the Snake and Griffin Knights, and the dark blue frame seems slightly thicker than either of those as well, making the shield look less detailed than it realistically should. I will put a caveat here though, as I haven't seen this in person and I'm only working with renders and the box art, so it might actually look better in person, I don't know. Either way, these shields don't give the fig the proper contrast that would otherwise be there if the armor was black. These two minifigs really miss the mark if you ask me, and don't properly represent the faction that I love. Thankfully, the Sea Serpent looks a lot better in comparison, and is a faithful reimagining in my opinion. It even has one of those secret hinged compartments for treasure, which is something LEGO loved to do back in the 90s. My only real complaint with the design is the front of the boat. It doesn't have the height and looks kinda wimpy compared to the original. Nothing like the medieval cog ship that the original and this set are emulating. It looks kinda wrong to me. And then I have basically one nitpick. It's basic, but it comes down to the color of the flags. There is no reason for the Black Knights to be using gold flags. Like I mentioned earlier, the Black Knights use colorful plumage in their armor and also do so on their ship, with the original set having one yellow and one green at the top of their ship, and a printed dragon at the back. Dark blue and gold do not work here at all, and it kinda feels like an afterthought to me. You could say that the original yellow flags in the set were always meant to represent gold, but I'm sorry, I just disagree. Overall, I like the build, but it's just missing a few things that would have made this set great, and honestly, the thing hurting it the most is the fact that it's a gift with purchase. Limited pieces, prints, and accessories just make this a set that I kinda don't care about. I don't think you should spend the $180 necessary to get this set. Unless you are already waiting to buy something else, I don't see a world where you should go out of your way to buy random sets to hit the threshold. It's sad to say, but this remake is not a must-buy for fans of LEGO Castle. Now, I would love to know what you all think about this set in the comments, as you might very well disagree with me. Though, if you would like to cry about the set even more, you can join the LEGO Castle Discord linked below. As uncommon as Castle news is, it's always a lot of fun reacting to it in there. And finally, a big thank you goes out to my channel members, Gyojo, Faisal, Rio Bricks, Walkdermeister, Ryzen Covers, Peter, Daventria Bricks, Space Marine 5869, Nimble Saucepan, The Squad Up Kid, Bins Yuin, Emperor Bradicus, and all of my other members for supporting the channel. And as always, thank you all so much for watching.